LSU's not, that they're not a team that has a whole lot of receivers, because they usually don't do their offense is based around a big passing attack. That's why you've seen transfers. They come in because they love the school and they see the ability to play early. And I think that's why, particularly with Tyron Johnson. And he took off because he didn't like throwing the depth chart. And, you can't really blame him. And let's be honest, the way the offense is ran, you're gonna see that. LSU, but they bring him in. Jamon Osmond, he's coming to LSU. I mean, he's coming to LSU over schools such as Baylor and A&M, who perennially throw the ball a lot more. I think that LSU does a great job of recruiting these athletes, getting these kids in. But at some point, from a recruiting perspective, okay, yes, you're getting these kids in, but you have to develop these players, but you have to call plays, have an offense that's going to benefit these guys you're recruiting. Because why is LSU bringing in these receivers? They've got all the talent in the world, but they're not using them. That's my question. So I think that these kids love the university so much and are promised things, but I think it's time for LSU to fulfill their promise, and let's do things they're going to play to our strengths. They've got some just ridiculously talented receivers that they're just not using. I don't know if it was a quarterback situation where Brandon Harris couldn't get it done. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. It looks that way, as he was quickly benched for Danny Etling. And maybe seeing what Danny Etling can do in opening up the offense lets these receivers, let some of the offensive guys who are committed to LSU or they're thinking about LSU, get more excited about it. That's what these coaches need to do. They need to show these guys that they're coming to a good situation, that LSU, that they're going to use them. And I think that's huge. The LSU needs to take advantage. So, but moving on to this commitment list, they've got a really deep defensive back class. Kerry Vincent, this kid from Port Arthur, Texas, looks fantastic. What I do like about him, though, which is really awesome, is he's taking the approach that he's starting to recruit guys from his area for LSU. He's trying to convince them to come. Kerry Vincent is a very talented athlete. From what he's a little. I mean, you want somebody to be a little bit taller. He's 5'11", 175. Okay, but when you watch him on tape and film, what I see a guy that can defend. He's got great leverage, and he can defend the ball based on his vertical jump and his leverage he gets on receivers. For being only 175 pounds, he's able to get good leverage on the line of scrimmage. Got great hips, got great lateral movement. There's a couple instances where his football IQ was incredible. He's able to make plays on the ball, dissect the play they're going to do a slant. He makes one particular play. You see where he's backing up. He's trying to judge the receiver, but before that receiver, it's almost like he knew where the ball was going. He made a direct run right to where that receiver was cutting. Didn't intercept it, but made a play on the ball incomplete. He looks like he's great as far as reading where this play is going. Great, like I said, big time football IQ. His coaches rave about his ability to make on-ball plays. For example, deep routes or whatever the case is. He goes and gets the ball. As some coaches refer to it, he rebounds the ball. He goes up and gets it. He doesn't let the ball play him, so to speak. He goes and makes a play on it. So the fact that he's a little undersized at 5'11", you kind of want a 6'1", 6'2" corner. But the way you can make up for that by being as great of an on-ball defender that he is. And Aranda's going to even better these skills. That's what I like about this guy, is that he brings guys here that are going to fit his system. LSU is known as DBU. They're losing a few. So Kerry Vincent coming in sees an opportunity. And with his skill set, depending if he picks up the system, I do believe he's got a chance to contribute early on. We'll see how early. But I like this guy. I encourage you to check out some film, or if you wait till the recruiting bash, great too. It's always a fun time. And you'll see videos of Kerry there too. But go check out. You can go check out some film. You can go look and find you a film of Kerry Vincent and just take a look at things. I'm in the process right now of getting in touch with his coaches to get a little bit more background information on him. Because I want to provide that to you from their perspective. What do they see? What are his strengths? And when I speak with them, I'm going to convey what was conveyed to me. I'm going to convey that to you because I want you to Jameson Dable Show. As always, we want to get you as much valuable information on these prospects that are coming in as possible. But taking a look at some of the guys here. Grant Delpit, another defensive back. This guy I love, absolutely love. He's out of Bradenton, Florida, 6'1", 180. LSU, they got a commitment from him. One school that LSU's going to have to fend off late rallies for is the University of Florida. He's going to take an official visit sometime in October to Florida. And they're going to do their pitch. They're going to do their thing. And Florida runs a good defensive scheme. So it's going to take some effort to keep this guy. What I do like, though, is he's a solid, hard commitment to LSU. He is solid hard. But I get nervous of early commitments because it gives these other teams time. It gives them time to go after these guys and throw different pitches and show them different things. And you'd like to see the commitment, but it can be a little dangerous sometimes. Like I said, there's time there. When you get a commitment late in the recruiting season, it doesn't always mean this. but it ends up being a sign for you. But the good thing about these recruits, most of them that commit early have been worked on for a while by LSU, by the schools they're committed to. They've been worked on their junior years, maybe longer. And in Dylan Moses' case, when he was in the 8th grade, but that's very rare. But Delpit, when I see him, what I see is a guy. He tackles very, very well. He wraps up, he focuses, and he doesn't hit you when he just hit you. There's some guys that'll hit you, and that's all they do. Grant Delpit on the high school level, he wraps up, dissects the play, wraps up, and he'll put a hit on you, especially for a 180-pound guy. I look for Delpit to provide some immediate depth at corner based on what I've seen on him. What I've seen on him, I see a lot of Tre'Davious White. He's very athletic. He's very good in terms of playing bump and run coverage. And again, you see a guy that can make multiple plays in multiple situations. And again, it all bases on if he comes in and he understands the system right away. But when you look at this guy, he has all the skill set to be able to provide immediate depth. Again, this is another guy I'm going to reach out to his coaches, because I know a lot of us are interested in Delpit. We've looked at him, we've heard so much about him. I'm going to reach out there to his coaches in Bradenton and try to get a little more background info. And what we're going to do too is we're going to try to get these coaches, and as well as these newspaper writers, that see, that watch this kid on a daily basis, that cover their games. We're going to try to get them on for an interview for them to give us more background information on these guys, what they've seen, what are they bringing to LSU. You know, but what's in their mind? What is their skill set? What do they see? Not just from you're seeing out of my eyes. That's what I'm conveying to you right now. I want to get people that are more invested in these kids that have been around them for a while again and give that to you. So we're going to reach out and get these coaches, get these writers. We talked last week about Jamon Osmond, great size, great speed, going to be a guy like Jarvis Landry was here. Manny Netherly, that's another one. He's small, 6'2", 172. So he reminds me a lot of Dante. Dante is extremely fast. He gets the ball, gets where he's going really fast. That's what this kid reminds me of. He's an athlete. And I think you're going to see him more on special teams. Come in special situations, maybe be a slot receiver. And it's possible that this kid will end up on the defensive side too. We'll have to see. But his athleticism is awesome. He's fantastic. He makes so many plays. You see that ability. You guys have always heard that it factor, that he's got it. He's got that natural playmaking ability, and that's what Manny does. If you watch him on film, he's a playmaker. He's got skills in terms of ball skills, but he's also got, the moves this kid has are incredible. The vision he has is incredible. And I think you're looking at somebody that can provide multiple attributes to this LSU team. In the return game, he's listed as a wide receiver. I see him more on special teams and possibly going on the defensive side. Again, this looks like it's probably going to be another defensive back for LSU. He's got that ability to play defensive back in special teams. I think that's what you're going to see out of this guy. From what I've seen, he's a special guy. He can do a lot. And he's going to make a difference on this LSU team. Anytime somebody can get on special teams and play on a defense that needs depth, he's a guy that's going to provide that for the Tigers. From what I understand, he's extremely solid to LSU. I'm going to do a little research and see what kind of visits he has planned. Just want to kind of give you guys a heads up on some of these guys that do have these visits set, where they're going to take them. And some of them aren't going to go on these visits. They're so solid LSU, they're not going to do it. But as you look at this class, again, Edward Ingram's another one, dominating offensive line, a mean streak. This guy, when I saw him on film, he is nasty. He destroys people. I know a lot of you remember Joseph Barksdale, and I'm going to take a step further and go back a little bit before that, when Saban was here with Nate Livings. He reminds me a lot of those guys who had a mean streak, who had a nasty streak. They get after you. The play was over when the whistle blew. Sometimes after the whistle blew. Just got a motor. It's like a desire to take their guy and just flatten them. And he does. He actually, in some film, he actually lays on top of the guys. So I'm sure it's pretty frustrating, but he finishes it. He's a finisher. To me, he looks like he possibly can turn into an offensive guard for LSU. 6'2", 315. He looks like he could play that left guard position. With the many guys LSU has at offensive line right now, as well as the guys they're bringing in, they're gonna have to put them in multiple positions. They may come in as a tackle. They may have to put them in guard. They may have to put them in center. A lot of these kids may start out at tackle or guard in high school and they come to LSU, and LSU sees them. Okay, wait, I see some more skills. They're better in this spot. This guy looks like he can play multiple positions, as he's really athletic for being 315. LSU's putting together a class of offensive linemen that look like they can do both really well. This guy's got quick feet. He's really good technique. Positions his hands properly. He does what he needs to do. Now, a sleeper in this class that a lot of guys, from who I've talked to, they say could be a sleeper. And let me get to Seth Stewart at Point Pleasant, West Virginia, 6'6", This is a tree. 6'9", 320. One name for you, Andrew Whitworth. That's who this guy reminds me a lot of. A lot. He wasn't as highly recruited, but he is one of my sleepers in this class, and I'm actually going to go through a couple more sleepers. There's a lot of sleepers I see that are linebackers, which is something that LSU desperately needs. They have to get linebackers in this class, and they are. So far, they're doing a great job of that, because in this scheme, Miranda runs, linebacker depth is huge. Guys that can rush off the edge, guys that play the run better on the inside. And my sleeper on the linebacker position is going to be Patrick Queen out of Livonia. This guy, from all indications, is extremely athletic, extremely fast. He's got a motor that runs for 4 quarters and beyond. Some places have him listed at 205, some at 215. I'm going to go ahead and quote to you about 6'1", 210. Sometimes they boost up their weights, sometimes they don't. When I look at him, he looks about 6'1", 210. But when you look at him on film, he's another one that sees where the play is going and goes directly. He finds that ball and he flies to it. A lot of these guys in this class you see on film, they're what I call ball guys. They either go up and get the ball, they go rebound the ball, or they go and attack it. Like they're like a heat-seeking missile. That's what this guy is, Patrick Queen. Keep that name in your head. I love him. I think he's great for this defense. I see him being a Arden Key with his speed and his size. I see him being an Arden Key type, Lewis Neal. Basically, what I'm comparing him to those guys is that he can play on the outside. Now, granted, he may come and be a Mike linebacker as well. That's always up for what LSU's coaches think he needs to be at. But when you look at him, I see him as more a pass rusher than an inside backer. He looks like his value is going to be on the outside. So definitely keep an eye on this guy. Some other sleepers I want to kind of go through for you. Sadiq Charles. He's another one. He's an offensive lineman. He plays guard. He's out of Madison, Mississippi. He's about 6'4", 320. If he eats a couple steaks, maybe 330. But, he's not highly up there because he's rated as a 3-star. But what I look at instead of the stars, I look at who's offering them, who's offering these guys. He's got a double-digit offer list with plenty of SEC options. He's got some Conference USA schools. He's got a good list that we're offering him. The decision to commit to LSU gives him a very solid prospect at guard to pair with Edward Ingram. Again, it's kind of like a new set of offensive linemen for the future at LSU and providing depth to next year in 2018. He went to the opening camp in Oregon, and from what I understand, extremely, extremely impressive when he went up against some of the nation's best linemen. And see, that's what impresses me. That's what tells me this guy is a high recruit. If he can match up with these other names that you hear about, that's what I like to see. I don't judge based on stars. I judge on their abilities to compete. A lot of times these 2 and 3 stars, they compete. They have a heart. They have a motor. They have drive. And he actually locked in one of the best SPART scores of all linemen. But his SPART score is kind of like an IQ of linemen. It's kind of like an IQ, though, on field. His actual score was a 102.93. His numbers was a 5.21, 40, a 4.7 shuttle, 44 feet, power ball pause, and a 25-inch vertical. He's just a really strong candidate for some strong depth for LSU on that offensive line. And he may develop quick. I did mention to you earlier, Neil Farrell was one of my sleepers as well. But again, he chose LSU over Alabama, Florida State, Florida, and Clemson. You see what I'm getting at? He does well in camps. He gets offered from schools that want him. And if these schools want him as well, this guy is definitely worth giving an offer to. When you look at it, he's obviously one of the best the Southeast region has to offer. And look, I say depth, he may come in and blow it up. Now, what I want to get to today, before I begin my breakdown of the Thursday night game tonight between Clemson and Georgia Tech, is I want to talk about Miles Brennan a little bit. My issue with him is his size. It's 6'3", 180. However, that's the only issue I have with him. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, is I've got something that I'd like to share. And it regards what the top recruits did as far as who dominated the stat sheet. And I want you guys to listen. Y'all know I'm a numbers guy. I love numbers. But I got to tell you guys what I saw and what this kid did last Friday night. Now, if you listened to my show last Thursday, I said he was going for the record. Mississippi State record for yards. It was previously held by Bill and Favre, who was, the nephew of Brett Favre. Now, it's worthy noting that Miles Brennan has been coached and trained by Brett Favre, which is always a good thing. Always a good thing. Brett Favre, the Hall of Fame.